early sobriety is not easy, but in this video, I'm going to give you 5 tips for early sobriety that hopefully will make it a little bit easier for you. Hello, welcome to Sobriety Bestie. My name is Kirsten. I am 13 years sober and I make videos about feeling good sober. Would love to have you along on this journey here, so consider subscribing to get information on the next videos and hit that little bell so you'll know when I post them. All right, let's jump right in. So 5 things that you can do in early sobriety to help you out. Number 1, remove all the alcohol or alcohol paraphernalia from your home. Now, maybe you're not able to do this because you have family members or roommates or whatever it may be, but this is something that is very helpful for a lot of us. It was certainly helpful for me, which is to ban all alcohol stuff from the home. It doesn't mean that you have to, and it doesn't mean you're going to get drunk if you don't. But for me, I got rid of all alcohol. I made a rule. I had a roommate at that time in 2009, and the house rules, I also don't like wearing shoes inside. So the house rules were no shoes, no booze. So consider having a no booze house rule if that works for you. So I had no alcohol. I also had no wine glasses or any sort of alcohol paraphernalia. That's not necessary, but it actually helped me to not have a visual cue in the beginning of my sobriety that was going to make me think about drinking. Number 2, consider what your boundaries are with alcohol. Like for me, I wanted 0 alcohol in my body at all. And this came after an early sobriety, maybe right out of rehab. I used mouthwash that had alcohol in it, and it made me feel like I was taking a shot of liquor. Like my cheeks started watering and I didn't like it. It triggered me. So I decided, right, no mouthwash with alcohol, no white wine sauces or red wine sauces, no wine in cooking, no desserts that have alcohol in them. I wanted no non-alcoholic drinks that have a little bit of alcohol in them. So for me, and no kombucha, I decided no alcohol of any kind in my body. Now, you don't have to decide the same thing as me, but consider where is your boundary? What do you feel comfortable with? What triggers you? What do you want? What's your best life? What makes sense to you? Number 3, journal your triggers. So what is triggering you to think about drinking, to desire drinking, to want to drink? What makes it more difficult for you to stay sober? So go ahead and take a journal and write in there, these are the things that maybe I need to take a pause on. Look at the people, places, and things that are maybe centered around alcohol, or alcohol comes up, or whether it's uncomfortable to do those things without alcohol. Maybe you want to create a buffer, take some space for a set amount of time or a little bit of time, or until you feel more comfortable from going into bars, unless you have a business meeting or a reason to be there, or hang out with a specific friend who happens to drink a lot or you always drink with. You know, the first 90 days, especially of sobriety, this is called initial recovery. That initial recovery period could be tender, right? We're really vulnerable. It's like being in the ICU. We're not really in remission yet. We're just getting started. So if you're in a more vulnerable place, like initial recovery, like those first 90 days, maybe you have different boundaries at that time than you will later. It's not that you'll never get to do this stuff again. Maybe you don't go out on New Year's Eve this year. Maybe you don't go out on Halloween or to the work party or the Christmas holiday party or whatever it is this year, this time, this just once, just while you're super, super sensitive. Like for me, my roommate, it was her 30th birthday when I was in my first year of sobriety. I was going to go. And that day of her birthday party, it was at a bar. They were literally, this is in San Francisco, they were going to come with a cable car, pick them up and do this whole bar hopping thing. And I felt like I wanted to drink that day. So as sad as it was to tell her I can't go, I didn't go. She got mad at me, but she understood, and I'm still sober and we're still friends. So at the beginning, you might need to take a little bit of a break from these certain things that are going to maybe activate you or put you at risk, in harm's way, at risk of drinking. 4, pause. So if you feel super emotional, if you feel stressed out, if you feel that desire to drink, if something is coming up, if you pray, go ahead and pray. You can call somebody. If you know somebody who's in sobriety or somebody who can support you, call somebody. If you want to meditate, if you want to do mindfulness, if you want to go for a walk in nature. You're feeling really worked up, go walk around the block, go a 10-minute walk, put in a podcast, something that you can calm yourself down and change your mind. And let the energy, if you were triggered, move through your body. You could even have a mantra. There are many mantras you can do. Something from the Buddha is, may I be at peace. May I be at peace. May I be at peace. Another thing that you can remember is, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. Whatever it is that you're in right now, the trigger, the desire, whatever it is. And just pause before you say something, before you do something, before you go somewhere, before you buy booze, whatever it is that, just take a pause. and just collect yourself, center yourself in whatever way works best for you. Number 5, this is something that somebody in my early sobriety recommended to me that was super helpful because my mind was so wild. I had so many racing thoughts and so much anxiety, and I was super emotionally dysregulated. I was on an emotional roller coaster, it felt like in early sobriety. And so they said, bring your head where your feet are. So when my head would get super wild with all the thoughts, all the stress, everything going on, I would literally look down at my feet. So here's something you can do to anchor yourself. I would actually move my head and I would look at my feet and I would just notice my shoes or my socks or whatever my feet were doing. And I would bring my attention, my consciousness, my presence into the present moment by noticing my feet or my shoes. And so do that, bring your head where your feet are, stay in the present moment. Now, none of these things are going to keep you sober just in and of themselves, but the more tips that we can put together, the more likely we're going to stay sober and build that ability to stay sober more long term. Which tip did you find the most helpful? Let me know in the comments. If I forgot something, definitely add your own early sobriety tip in the comments. So if you're adding a tip, that's beautiful. If you're not, read the comments for maybe more other tips that might maybe be more relevant for you than what I said. So I look forward to seeing you in the comments. Also, a thing to note is I have a playlist on early sobriety, which you might feel helpful. And I have another playlist on emotions and sobriety or emotional sobriety, which you might enjoy. If you're in the very, very beginning of your sobriety, I do have a playlist on getting sober. So there's lots of good things here. You might want to consider subscribing with all the goodness that is going on here. And I hope you're having a beautiful day. I'll see you in the next video.